This is number 17, Noble bus check, testing check 1, 2, check. Testing bus check 1, 2, 3. Testing bus check 1, 2, 3, 4. Thank you, ladies.
going to call the meeting to order. Please raise for the salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for a moment of silence for the Transportation Secretary, Claudine Silvestri, who was killed in an automobile accident on her way to work on Monday, August 9th. Thank you. Thank you. This meeting is in compliance with the Open Public Meeting Law and has been duly advertised in the newspaper as an official meeting. Roll call.
Here.
Mr. Herman?
Here.
Present.
Present. Present.
Present. I need a motion for approval of the agenda with addendums.
Motion. Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Yes.
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 Yes. I'd like to turn the meeting over to Ms. Permelli for her superintendent's report.
Excuse me, I'm having a hard time hearing both of you. Did you hear me?
No, your mic's off.
Hello? Yeah, I cannot hear.
Yep. Mr. Acevedo, we are, ooh, that's very loud, I'm sorry, everyone. We are seated 6 feet apart, so you may take your face covering off. And the same with us as we speak. So thank you, Ms. Rivera. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to everyone. Welcome to the board. I'd like to start the evening by sharing some things that have been happening in our district over the summer and most recently within the last week. So we have this week, Mr. Vitante, our Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum, along with some of our directors and supervisors and other staff members and teacher leaders, have been working with our newly hired staff for new staff orientation. It was exciting on Monday to see all the eager new faces ready to work with our students this year. We had an opportunity to do a fun activity together. I spent some time talking about our mission statement and our philosophy about a student-centered classroom with them. And then they spent 2 days learning other things about our district, as well as today they got to go to their buildings with their principals, get into their classrooms. So it's always an exciting time working with our new staff. And I thank you all of the administrators and Mr. Vitante for working with them this past week. Our summer programs for all of our students have concluded. It was quite successful. It was a very busy summer with students, a lot of credit recovery, a lot of enrichment, and a lot of opportunity for students to learn academically while having fun. So that was lovely to see. Most recently, just in the last 2 days, you may have seen it when you pulled in, but our seniors are preparing and getting ready to paint their parking spots. It's a new initiative for our high schools. It's very exciting. I was out there yesterday with some of the students talking to them. They're very excited and thrilled for it, and kudos to our high schools for advocating for that for them. It's a wonderful opportunity for them and a great way to come back to our schools. Next week, we'll begin to welcome many of our students through orientations, kindergarten orientation, preschool orientation, 6th grade, 9th grade, and we're also bringing in other students who haven't had an opportunity to see the school, perhaps because they were a full remote student last year. So we're really excited to start seeing our buildings come alive again with students. It's an exciting time, and looking forward to seeing them next week. Our administrative team has been busy preparing to welcome our staff back next week for September 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, preparing professional development with them and for them. So it's, again, a very exciting time. We're looking forward to seeing the students on the 9th. I did want to mention that In June, there was a presentation at the board about our common lunch period at the high school that we were going to be implementing. We have decided to pause that until second semester. I just wanted to make that announcement publicly. You'll hear more. They'll be doing their normal lunch schedules, and building administrators will communicate that to everyone. Just wanted to let the public know we have decided to pause that for one semester. Looking forward to starting it in February, second semester. Most recently, on Monday, as you are probably all aware, we did communicate with our public about our road forward plan that we are required to have for reopening of our schools. I do recognize that there are multiple perspectives on how the school should open, on the executive orders that have been issued by our governor, and I want you to know that we appreciate everybody's perspective. The school has been put into a very difficult place. We do have an executive order that we're required to follow by law, but we also recognize that there's many people and many students who aren't in favor of that executive order. However, we also hear from the opposite side of that, of people who are in favor of that and do want masks. So do know that we do listen. We do appreciate everybody's perspective, no matter what it may be. And I hope that everybody understands that we are all human here, trying to do the best job we can in a very difficult situation. We care deeply about students, and we just ask tonight, when you do speak, we do want to hear from you. But when you do speak, please just be respectful and know that we're all human beings trying to do a good job. And that's all we ask. We will make the very best situation we can out of a difficult situation for students. That's why we're here. We care about students, and we will ensure that we try to give them the best education and encourage them and get them to engage in school. And that's what we're looking for the fall. We are excited that everything will be operational, 5 days, in person, full activities, athletics, co-curriculars, all of it will be happening. With that, I conclude my superintendent's report. Thank you, Ms. Rivera.
Thank you, Ms. Parmelli. Standing committee reports. State and county school boards, the next meeting will be October 14th. Parent group liaison, Mr. Brunetsky.
After school starts, we'll be meeting in October.
Special education, Mr. Spaltoff.
Just participated this week in the SEAC initial meeting for the year. Looking forward to many good events and learning opportunities for our community that the SEAC will be putting on.
Thank you. Scholarship, Mr. Walsh.
We'll have our reorganization meeting sometime at the end of September. At this time, I'd like to send my regards to Mr. Glenn Sculthorpe, who passed away. He's been on the committee for many years, and he will be a loss to this scholarship committee. And that's it.
Buildings and grounds, Mr. Walsh.
No report.
Budget and finance, Mr. Walsh, Mr. Brunetsky, and Mr. Herman.
Budget is ongoing.
Transportation.
We are working our way through staffing shortages, as with the rest of the country. Hopefully, first day of school, we'll have every child on a school bus to where they have to go.
Negotiation teamsters, Mr. Walsh.
Finished.
Curriculum committee, Mr. Spaltoff.
Curriculum committee met on August 11th. We discussed the road forward plan, talked about the 5-year curriculum cycle. This year, the math, K-5, art, music, and science K-12 are all in review, and it being implemented this year is the world language and health PE K-12. We were given an update on the summer school programs. We reviewed the schedule for state testing as well as the Start Strong assessments that will have to take place as per the state in October. As you may have read in the newspaper, middle school civics is mandated to begin in the 22-23 school year. We also discussed the district vision and goals that were worked on with the administrative team with Mrs. Parmelli.
Policy committee, Mr. Walsh.
We met last Wednesday, went over the first reading and second readings that will be on today's agenda. That's it.
Thank you. I need a motion for approval of policy 1 first reading.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Yes.
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 Yes. I need a motion for approval of policy, second reading and adoption.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Yes.
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 Yes. I need a motion for approval of regulations and the adoption.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Yes.
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 Yes. I need a motion for approval of abolished policy.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Yes.
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 Yes. I need a motion for approval of the minutes, the closed session meeting July 21st, 2021, and the official board meeting July 21st, 2020, committee of the whole business meeting.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Yes.
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 Yes. I need a motion for approval of the bill list.
Motion for approval of the bill list.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Yes.
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 Yes. And I need a motion for approval of the treasurer's and board secretary's reports.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Yes.
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 Yes. I need a motion to open the public forum on agenda items only. We will hold another public forum during this meeting for other questions. This public forum will be for questions on agenda item only.
Motion.
Second.
I would like Mr. Zittimer to discuss further.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. So I just wanted to explain how the public participation session is going to work this evening. As Ms. Rivera points out, we have 2 public participation sessions on the agenda. The first is agenda items only, so if you have a comment or a question about anything on the agenda, that would be the opportunity for you to speak. Per board policy, we're going to limit everybody to 3 minutes per person, and I'll give you like a 1-minute notice if there's at about the 1-minute mark, so you know you have about a minute left to speak. The second public participation session is you can speak about anything else that's on your mind. When you get up to the microphone, we ask, per our policy, that you just identify yourself, state your name and your address. The board is going to listen to all the comments, all the questions. We're going to write down the questions. We're not going to get into a back and forth. At the end of each public participation session, we'll make a motion to close the public participation, and then we'll respond to any questions that may have been asked. Okay? Thank you. Ask anybody if they want to come up to the mic on agenda items only.
Please sign in and state your name and whether or not you are a Jackson resident. Each person is allowed 3 minutes to speak. No person may speak more than once on a topic until others have been heard. Is there anybody coming up for agenda items only?
Does anybody want to speak on anything on the agenda? Okay.
Seeing no one approach, I motion that we close the public forum on agenda items only.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I need a motion to move finance.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Yes.
Discussion. The line 20 here, the Board of Education is recommending the Board Secretary will be improving our Versatrans system, which is our software system to get children safely to and from school. It's over $400,000, and it's going to improve the safety of all children in the district. There'll be a lot more notifications. It will be intuitive. Pretty. Line 20, the Board of Education, based on the recommendation of the Board Secretary,
Directly to the microphone.
the Board of Education will be approving on line 20 the Versatrans system upgrade, which is our transportation system. We're spending over $400,000. It's going to make the safety for our children, it's going to enhance the safety of our children. Parents should know when the kids get on and off the bus. And I think it's $400,000 very well spent, and I thank the Superintendent Business Administrator for pushing this initiative.
Any other discussion? Roll call.
I already asked Mr. Spaltoff, so.
Yes,
Mr.
we'll go
Herman?
again.
Mr. Herman?
Yes?
Mr. Acevedo?
Yes.
Mr. Burnetsky?
Yes.
Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
Mrs. Rivera?
Yes. I need a motion to move facilities.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Spaltoff?
Yes.
Mr. Herman?
Yes?
Mr. Acevedo?
Yes.
Mr. Burnetsky?
Yes.
Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
Mrs. Rivera?
Yes. I need a motion to move programs.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Spaltoff?
Yes.
Mr. Herman?
Yes?
Mr. Acevedo?
Yes.
Mr. Burnetsky?
Yes.
Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
Mrs. Rivera?
Yes. I need a motion to move students.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Spaltoff?
Yes.
Mr. Herman?
Yes?
Mr. Acevedo?
Yes.
Mr. Burnetsky?
Yes.
Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
Mrs. Rivera?
Yes. I need a motion to move personnel.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Spaltoff?
Yes.
Mr. Herman?
Yes?
Mr. Acevedo?
Yes.
Mr. Burnetsky?
Abstain on anything transportation related, yes to everything else.
Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
Mrs. Rivera?
Yes. I need a motion to open public forum on any topics pertaining to the Board of Education.
Move to open.
Motion.
Please sign in and state your name and whether or not you're a Jackson resident. Each person is allowed a maximum of 3 minutes. No person may speak more than once on a topic until all others have been heard. Oh,
Madam
Mr.
President, I have a list and I will call people.
Ms. Richardson is going to announce.
Melissa Elsner?
I'm Melissa Elsner. I live at Abigail Court in Jackson.
Turn on the mic. Get close to the mic.
Can you hear me? All right. I am Melissa Elsner. I live on Abigail Court in Jackson. I am the mother of 2 children in this district, one who graduated in June and another one who has 2 years left to go. My son that remains in school is on the autism spectrum, and uses a lot of the special education services in the town. And I have a lot of concerns, obviously, about Executive Order 251. I also have concerns about a board that thinks that the acceptable answer is we're just going to do what Murphy says. I'm pretty sure that everybody on the board, I'm pretty sure that everybody on the board has taken an oath to preserve and protect the Constitution. And the thing is, what's happening right now is a complete stomping on parental rights, on our constitutional rights of our children. The masking that's taking place right now is a lot of political theater. My mother's a nurse. I understand if people are wearing N95 masks, but we're talking about kids who are very often wearing the same cotton mask all day long. Whether they're drooling in it, they have their hands in it, they're dirty. Let's not pretend that that's protecting them from something. Let's also not pretend that students are at any great risk from COVID. In fact, 0 school-age children in New Jersey have died from COVID. One of the things that has happened in this area, people talk about keeping people safe. I want to talk about something known as the Pineys. Back in 1913, the governor of New Jersey actually quarantined the Pineys because he thought that they were unsafe, that they needed to be sterilized. And I bring that up today because this is the mentality that we have. It's science, it's eugenics, it's these things that we're doing to keep ourselves safe. Keeping ourselves safe from what? The students?
1
What are we
minute.
keeping the students safe from? So here's the things that I know for sure. I know that teen suicides and addictions have skyrocketed. Younger children are having trouble with speech and emotional cues due to prolonged masking. Bacterial infections and dental decay have increased. Anxiety and depression are on the rise, and children are becoming terrified of the outside world and each other. We're being asked to ignore the damage that we see with our own eyes in favor of what the media and the politicians tell us. Our kids are suffering. School boards across the state should band together and unite against this. This town would support you, support us, support parental rights, support us doing what's best for our children rather than Governor Murphy telling us what's best. Thank you.
Boyle.
Hi, everyone. My name is Elena Boyle. I am at 538 Frank Applegate Road here in Jackson. I am a licensed professional counselor for the state of New Jersey. I am also a licensed clinical alcohol and drug counselor, and I'm also a mother. I have a private practice here in Jackson where I specialize in adolescents and also in addiction. I am here today not to debate civil rights and freedoms and all that, but I'm here to talk about the executive order. Mental health and the impacts of the COVID mandates that have had on our kids have been tremendous. I see it firsthand. I see the detrimental effects that these mandates have had. We need to remember that mental health actually matters. Government policies meant to curtail these COVID-19 pandemics have resulted in consequences that are so astronomical. All these COVID mandates and executive orders are contributing to the surging rates of anxiety, depression, and suicide. I did a lot of research and paperwork, and I have all these statistics, but I'm not going to waste the time on that. But there's one statistic I'm going to read. And this isn't from Facebook, this isn't from social media, this is from peer-reviewed journal articles. There has been a 334% spike in intentional self-harm claims among 13 to 18-year-olds in the Northeast compared to pre-COVID years. Drug overdoses increased by 119%. Okay, let's face it, there's no perfect policy, and I get that. But the problem is right now, the current administration under Murphy isn't taking mental health into consideration. I respect the board. I have worked with Jackson boards professionally and personally, and I know you guys do acknowledge mental health, but you're stuck with these mandates. But there's ways to work around these mandates.
It's 1 minute.
Exemption 1A notes that when exception is made, when doing so would inhibit the individual's health. You can make a policy where if someone's mental health is harmed by these masks, we can work within these mandates. I am petitioning the district to acknowledge that a state licensed medical professional, which includes mental health licensed professionals like myself, can exempt a child from this. And I'm not talking about kids that have anxiety and depression. There is this disorder called adjustment disorder. I can guarantee every one of these kids out here have it. And I will write letters for every single one of these kids to exempt them. This is so important. I have these kids crying in my offices, and no one is listening to them. Governor Mercy doesn't care. I know you guys do. As a licensed professional, I'm here to offer my time. Call me.
That's time.
You have
Thank
my
you.
information.
Victoria Rose.
Hello? Can you guys hear me? All right. My name is Victoria Rose. I live on 540 DeRose Lane. Honest question. Would you muzzle your dog for 7 hours a day, 5 days a week for 10 months? We are witnessing an anti-American tyrannical government that wants our children to wear a muzzle all day, every day in school. Let's talk facts and common sense. What is the dirtiest part of the body? It's not the anus, it's the mouth. It carries the largest amount of bacteria and germs. Have you thought about how unhealthy and bad that is on the immune system? Walking around with a bacteria-ridden, germ-infested, spit-soaked rag all day, every day, and the carbon dioxide that is supposed to be exhaled and is not. Let's not forget about the repercussions from the oxygen deprivation and what being masked up all day, every day does to a kid's psychology. Teaching them that the air is toxic, people are sick, and to stay away from their friends. The mask promotes fear, isolation, depression, but this is all in the name of health, right? Right? There's zero evidence and data that the mask stops the spread of COVID, and tons of facts, tons, all over the place that it does more harm than anything, and still it's a debate. It's a debate. It's amazing. Because you guys are just following orders, right? My grandmother used to say, if someone jumped off a bridge, are you going to follow them? Is the governor or the board going to be liable if kids are getting sick, passing out, and developing medical issues due to the mask? Anybody? Class? Unfortunately, we're going to have a lot of sick kids on our hands. According to the CDC, children ages 0 to 17 have 20 in a million infection death ratio. Round that to the fourth decimal, it's a 0% risk of death. Zero! People, this is not about health. You are all being used to push an evil political agenda by depriving children and forcing them to wear a mask all day, every day for a virus that has a 98% survival rate. I spoke to two principals. All they can tell me is their hands are tied behind their back. But I don't agree. I think you can do something. I think if you feel in your soul that masking children all day, every day is wrong, then you're right. And you have a moral duty to stand up and fight with us. Fight with us, the parents. We're on your side, okay? Our government doesn't care if you're sick or I'm sick or if we die. The Declaration of Independence says that we not only have the right, but we also have the duty to alter or abolish any government that does not secure our unalienable rights, including life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Doing the right thing when most people are doing the wrong thing is hard. That's why no one does it. Why don't we do something different from what everyone else is doing? I'm asking you to take a stand. Fight with us parents. We have your back. We understand. You gotta look out for the kids, man. This is fucking crazy.
We ask that people not use profanity. There are young kids here in the audience, please.
Julie? The next person is Juliana Bernstein, please.
Hi, my name is Juliana, and I'm a student in Jackson. And in my experience, the mask is very uncomfortable. It makes my face feel itchy. It makes it difficult to breathe and sometimes even see. Being at school last year was very tough. We were supposed to get a few mask breaks a day, but instead my class did not. My teacher would not even let us pull our masks down for a second to get a sip of water. She sent us to the bathroom to drink our water. We were also forced to sanitize our hands over and over and over again, even after we just washed our hands with soap and water. My hands were raw sometimes, but if I complained, I had to do double. This is not what school should be like. I used to love school, but now I'm sad and scared. Dear Board of Education, please take my words into consideration.
Ray Gosgadon.
My name is Ray Gazinski, 284 Frank Applegate Road, Jackson. I have 3 children in the district. This meeting is not about a mask. This meeting is about choice. Parents' choice as to whether their child will wear a mask or not. And when Murphy put out his executive order, he didn't even give the parents the choice of a virtual learning if they did not want their child to wear a mask. In his executive order, there was a place where a parent could write a letter asserting that their child has a certain medical affliction. When his own district of Middletown inundated his office with hundreds of requests for medical exemptions, he quickly slid in a little addendum. Now it has to be a medical professional. We fought for hundreds of years over mandates and tyranny. I had a great history professor once who said, Ray, it wasn't about the tea. It was about the mandated tax, not the tea. The superintendent said that we are going to go back to activities as normal. I'm assuming she also meant football. Are we going to have football without tackling? Football without blocking? My child can't go to school without a mask on, but we're going to tackle and block each other? I don't know if any of you have ever played high school football. I'm no Al Bundy, but everybody bleeds on each other, sweats on each other, and breathes on each other. And they're not wearing masks. I will leave you tonight with a quote, even though I'm wearing a Trump shirt, the greatest president in my lifetime. Hold it. I meant Ronald Reagan. He said, if you don't control your government will control you. Thank you.
Lynn Patterman.
Hello, thank you for your time.
Is it on? Can you hear me?
Yes, it's on now.
Okay, that's good. Okay, can you hear me now? Is that better? Okay. Take it out then. No, I'll take it out. My name is Lynn Pateman. I'm here with my husband, Ray. We live at 615 Cassville Road here in Jackson. I'm here to request choice for our children. And many families are here tonight asking for just that one thing, choice. You'll hear about a lot of data. I came across a lot when I was looking too. I came across a pie chart that blew my mind. I couldn't believe that according to charts like this in New Jersey, our children are at a greater risk of suicide and homicide than they are from death by COVID. It's 11 times greater chance to have a death from homicide. My children are more at risk of being killed by someone than by COVID. We could pour over data like that for hours and hours. You've seen it. I know that you have. I have sent some of it to you by email, and I hope you review it. But I'd rather ask you to do a different kind of reading. I'd like us to all pick up that book that we remember from high school, The Diary of Anne Frank. And let's read about how through propaganda and disinformation, a young girl was forced into hiding. And let's all think about this for one moment. There was a family willing to risk everything to hide that girl and her family in their house because they looked at the facts and the faces of the children and they went against that propaganda. And I ask you, the board, to be that family, to be that house, to be strong, to fortify around us, and to stand with us. Don't be a foot soldier for the tyranny of Murphy and his threats of funding. Without you, he has no power against us.
1 minute.
But make no mistake, we are not hiding in an attic. We have learned from history. We will not be afraid of an anti-mask label. We are not going to fall for my mask keeps you safe propaganda. If you want to stand with us, we will walk with you and stand with you and support you in going against Murphy. But if you don't do that, we are prepared to walk, we are prepared to unenroll, and our absence will impact your funding too. So please, we ask you to stand with us, be the house that protects its people, and we will be the foundation with which you can rely on for support.
Bruno Cybuler.
Hi, my name is Gracie Bush and I'm 9 years old. I am here to tell you a little bit about how masks made my school year very difficult. First, masks were very distracting. I fidget with my mask all day just so it feels more comfortable. Then this distracts me from learning. I have tried plenty of masks, but they still are not comfortable. Sometimes my mask would get wet and then I was stuck like that for the rest of the day. Masks also make it hard to understand people in school. So many times I would try to answer a question and my teacher would not understand me, so she would move on. This made me feel upset because it made me look like I got the question wrong. I even gotten things wrong on my spelling test because I couldn't understand what the teacher was saying. Besides not understanding people, it was hard to tell what they feel. I couldn't tell if someone was joking or being mean. Wearing a mask makes me feel very anxious and it gave me stomach aches almost every day. Teachers should wear shields so that we can see their faces, and kids should be free to choose. We deserve to be free. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. I would like to finish our time if I could, please. My name is Bruno Sebuschler from 698 Cassville Road. I also have another daughter. She is 6 years old, and she's on the autism spectrum. She suffers from sensory processing disorder and multiple other conditions. Unfortunately, the special ed team insists on her being able to wear a mask. So I've actually spoken to the CST team several times. They requested multiple notes from the doctor. One was unacceptable. We had to get a different note. Sometimes my daughter can't even keep her shoes on because it bothers her. So I don't understand how this is about the children. If a child with a disability, nonverbal, and suffers from multiple disabilities, it should be about them and not about being in compliance. So in addition to her IEP, we have to get a new doctor's note exempting her from a mask when in the law it says if she has an IEP, she automatically is exempt. So I don't know where this is coming from, but we've had discussion directly with the special ed superintendent, and she's very persistent. I've actually discussed with you, Mrs. Primelli, regarding her, and it feels like most of the time we're not a team. They're just trying to make it things as much difficult as they can for us. So please consider this as a parent of a 9-year-old and a 6-year-old with a disability. Make a choice. Thank you.
Maria Froyo.
Good evening. My name is Maria Froyo, and I'm a Jackson resident. And I just would like to say that our government has gone completely rogue, radical, left-wing communist. And I would like to talk about the governor's executive order and make life easy for the Board of Ed, because there are lots of loopholes and gray areas that he left, because I don't believe that he really wanted to pull the trigger on this order in an election year. I hear a lot of parents saying that they send in notes and you're making it difficult for them, and you should make it very easy for them. If I send in a note to the gym teacher saying my child sprained her ankle, that should be sufficient. I shouldn't have to come to any other meetings, 504s, paperworks, nothing. So now you want to talk about data-based, science-based, evidence-based. Okay, well, buckle up and here we go. There are multiple studies in peer-reviewed medical journals asserting masks are ineffective. There is zero evidence to show kids are at significant risk of catching or dying of COVID. Are you aware that there are no scientific data or studies ever to exist to say kids in masks are safer? The CDC says kids have a 0.08 chance of dying of COVID. The CDC studied 90,000 students in Georgia in 169 schools and concluded requiring student masking found no statistical significant benefit. Also, the NIH director admitted mask mandates enforced on children are not based on COVID-19 data, and it's not because they are in danger of infection.
1 minute.
The NIH paid for studies that say masks are ineffective. The New England Journal of Medicine says we know wearing masks offer little if no protection. Brown University said babies born since March 2020 have shockingly low cognitive development. Their IQ levels went from 100 to 79. This is typically seen outside of major cognitive disorders. This is shocking, absolutely shocking. Masks that kids wear all day long are dirty, they're ineffective. Not my studies, NIH, CDC, the WHO, They've all concluded this time and time again. So why aren't we listening to the science and the data and the parents? Why don't you trust the parents? Why are so many police officers here? What are you afraid of? Parents simply want the right to refuse. I did not sign a waiver.
That's time, ma'am. Thank you.
Signing my parental rights away to co-parent with Governor Murphy or the Board of Ed. Thank you very much for your time.
Christine McGinley. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Christine McGinley, and I live on Cook Road. I have two students, one in middle school and one in Johnson Elementary. I greatly appreciate everyone's testimony or comment so far. I'm actually going to talk about a different topic, which has to do with the plan forward and the quarantine plan specifically. During last year, we had from September to December synchronous learning, which worked very well for my children. I happened to be a stay-at-home mom. I could make sure they were logged on, they attended, and they received an education from their teachers. I was a teacher before kids. I can supplement, but the current quarantine plan says that we cannot log in when a child is sent home from school. Last year, my perfectly healthy daughter had 24 days of quarantine. 24 days she was able to sign on and attend her teacher's classes in the middle school. This is not the plan for September. Some students may only be out 7 days. Again, the plan is saying all day long they need to stay at home, do independent work without any interaction with their teacher, but after the school day is over, my 9-year-old boy could potentially have to sign on at 3:30 in the afternoon. He's dyslexic, so he would be entitled to 2 hours of direct instruction from 3:30 to 5:30. I have a very happy, active little boy. That is not the optimum time to teach children. I ask that the board seriously reconsider the quarantine plan to include synchronous learning. Our superintendent stated in the video that she believes
1 minute.
The synchronous learning did not provide enough direct instruction. I think maybe that was slightly contradictory because my kids received direct instruction when they were in quarantine. Please reconsider that plan. We have the technology, our tax dollars pay for that technology. I know as a teacher possibly it is inconvenient, but we had several months to get over that inconvenience and learn how to pull it off. So please reconsider that plan. Thank you.
Edward Kaufman.
Good evening. I'm actually glad I have your attention now, because over the summer I wrote letters to each and every one of you, and every one of you ignored the letter. No one responded to anything that I wrote to them. But now that I have your attention, I want to talk to you about what the Board of Education and schools seem to think is very important, and that's bullying and harassment. And if you go on the school's website, you'll look up and you'll see the definitions of what they consider to be harassment, intimidation, and bullying. Is reasonably perceived as being motivated by either any actual or perceived characteristic, such as race, color, religion, and ancestry, natural origin, physical or sensory disability, or by any other distinguishing characteristic. I want to know if the school board thinks that putting a mask on children's face against their will is considered harassment, intimidation, or bullying. I don't expect an answer, though, considering you never answered my letter. It also says a reasonable person should know, under the circumstances, that the acts will have the effect of physically or emotionally harming a student or damaging the student's property or placing a student in reasonable fear of physical or emotional harm to his or her person or damage to his or her property. It also says it has the effect of insulting or demeaning any student or group of students. I wonder if anybody has bothered to read those things on the website. The Board of Education took time to write them. I'm sure they consulted with someone, but I don't honestly believe anybody cares enough to read it. I do. My son will not be wearing a mask. There is not a living soul that will force a mask on my son. In all the conversations with the schools in the past, I have one requirement. Treat my children as if I'm standing next to them at all times. Because not one of you would step up while I'm standing there and force a mask on my son's face.
1 minute.
It also explains the security, because I'm convinced that you deem us to be a threat. 4 security guards, 4 cop cars, all because we're coming here to ask you not to harm our children. Despicable. It's absolutely despicable. But as a construction professional, I'm trained. I'm educated in what it takes to keep people safe. A virus is 1,000 times smaller than a human hair. None of those masks will do anything. If there was a virus in here that would kill us, we would all be dead. It's a joke. You're wearing a mask for something you could not stop. You watch TV when they quarantine a state, a country, a village. Everybody dies unless they're encapsulated with a bubble around their head. But yet you sit here with a mask on for theater, and it's infuriating. It's an absolute joke. If any of you had mold in your house and you hired a contractor to remove it, you would not be allowed in that environment wearing those masks. But guess what? Mold is 40 times larger than a virus. None of those masks would allow you to be in an environment with
That's
mold.
time. Thank you.
Shannon Kulisi.
Good evening. My name is Shannon Kalesa. I have 3 boys in the district. I'm at 806 Miller Avenue. I was very disappointed reading our road to recovery. A lot of things just don't make sense. Okay, you feel your hands are tied, they have to wear a mask. Oh, unless it's too hot, then we can take it off. Unless they're eating, then we can take it off. Unless they're in gym, then we can take it off. Does COVID not spread during those times? I had respect up until I read the part of your presentation that says, our hands are tied because Murphy will not give us the funding. You just took my child and turned him into a political, monetary pawn, and nothing more than that. If you are so worried about the funding and you need my child in a mask to get your funding, fine. But then please know, if you are going to be responsible for making those choices for my child, I will be dropping the psychologist bills off to you. I will be dropping the medication bills off to you. I will be stopping by your house when my 8-year-old is having a full-blown meltdown because he's completely broken out all over his face. He can't understand his teachers. He hasn't seen his friend's face. If you choose to take those decisions away from me, then I expect you to be at my house to deal with the consequences. You say your hands are tied and there's nothing you can do. Take a look around. I'm in love with the letter from Brick Township, from their Board of Ed, going against Murphy. Barnegat, Southern Regional, Manahawkin, Manalapan, Middletown. There are districts that are standing up, and I can guarantee you, each and every one of you, that if you stand up for us, we will be behind you. Please, take the consideration of our children and what they mean to us and understand that they mean more to us.
1 minute.
Their benefit, their health means more to us than that dollar that does to Murphy or to the district.
Katrina Smith.
Hi, my name is Katrina Smith. I have 2 children in Jackson, one that's still in school, one that graduated last year. I think the big question is, how are you not going to fail our children again? Last year, I wrote all of you letters, all of you. I talked to the superintendent, I talked to the vice superintendent. My daughter is a wrestler at your beautiful school, and last year she was quarantined 36 days. 36, never had COVID, never had it. On the last time that she was quarantined, she was in a wrestling match where the other school was supposed to make sure that they were all tested and properly done. We get a phone call 2 weeks before regionals and states, and I fought it. I fought it. Sat there and just was like, okay, well, there's ways around this. You guys are going to work with me. You're going to help me get my daughter to regionals and states. Do you know what that does? That's their scholarships. That's everything that they have. They work their asses off. Have you? I'm sorry, none of you look like wrestlers because they do 6-hour practices a day. 6 hours. And you wanted them to wear masks? My daughter will not be wearing a mask this year. I do not trust any of you. Here's what happened. I fought. I had it down to clinics giving me letters to you guys stating that she was fine. The last 7 days, we had 7 days to do it. Last year, you guys had that clause as the CDC. Your excuse is, oh, we're following CDC rules. Well, in the CDC rules last year, which you implemented this year, is the 7-day, 3-day testing that you are negative and you can come back to school, right? That was in there last year. Guess what they didn't let my daughter do? They turned her away. They ignored me. They ignored all the letters. So she missed regions and states. Do you know how much my son got? My son got athletic and academic for wrestling from your school.
1 minute.
These are huge, huge things for your athletes because he's basically going to school for free for that, and you took that away from her. This year she's a senior. You're not going to do that again to her. I'm telling you right now. I will be fighting, and she will not be wearing school this year, and she will not be quarantined. So I suggest you find out how you're going to make that homeschooling possible, because 2 weeks before regions and states, she will not be coming to your school. Thank you.
Anthony Schaefer.
Hi, my name's Anthony Schaefer. I have 2 school-aged children. My name's Anthony Schaefer. I have 2 school-aged children. I live at 2 Moe Court in Jackson. I wasn't going to say anything till I got here, and I know it's not your fault and your hands are tied. I know that the pharma company funds the NGA, they control Murphy, they donate to Norcross, he controls Sweeney, Pfizer owns New Jersey, I got it. That's fine, let's educate our children then. I'd like to offer a scholarship to the high school students. I'd like to offer $17,000 in scholarships right now to the students who study COVID and the comorbidities of obesity, diabetes, and the fact that McDonald's is up 40% since this all started. I would like to then let our children figure out why the school lunch menu has 2,000 calories for kindergartners. Okay, let's try that. Yeah, they need to wear a mask. How about they eat some kale? Okay? So I would like to offer at least $15,000 to $17,000, starting at $7,000 for the winner. I'll go 4, 3, 2, 1, and then I'll also do a bunch of participation, because we all know we love that. Let's get it done. I want to educate the students. Let's let them teach the school board how to feed them, please, because it's ridiculous. We're protecting them from what? Thank you.
Donovan.
I have ADD, and it was really tough to try to learn with the mask on. So you guys made me wear a mask. Murphy made me wear a mask. And no one asked the kids who wanted this. The kids didn't get a say. Am I right? You're putting the kids in masks. And the kids didn't get a say? No one got a say? Am I right?
Elena.
Free is a four-letter word.
Hello, my name is Elena Kobe, and for my senior year, I am being grandfathered into Liberty High School. The reason I am being grandfathered is because during the start of this pandemic, my family went through some problems. We ended up having to move with a family friend that didn't live in Jackson, and it was a pain in the ass to get through it. My family fought to get me grandfathered this year, and the only reason I was able to go to my junior year in high school was because we already paid taxes in Jackson that year, and it was all virtual. So you can't take me out of virtual school if I'm not even going to actual school. Can't kick me out. Gotta be way too much paperwork, and who wants to deal with that during all this? Right now, I keep on shaking because I do not feel comfortable talking in front of a bunch of people. The reason that is because I have dealt with multiple people yelling at me, mostly my peers, and that whenever I have tried to talk to other people, they don't listen. You do not listen to parents or your own students. I am the one in my classes who actually talk to my teachers. And none of my classmates feel comfortable talking over a computer or in front of other people. That's because they are stuck in front of a computer. They don't have to talk to people. We do not talk face to face. We text, we use our phones. We have social media, which is absolutely toxic. The masks, I have asthma. They could give me a real problem. I do not feel comfortable in them, and I don't have the option of staying home this year. I was also supposed to be in bow type for culinary again this year. I dropped that because doing that would make me have to wear a mask even longer in the day in a hot kitchen.
1 minute.
So now I only have 3 classes until I graduate, but I wanted to go to college for culinary, which is why I signed up for the bow type program in the first place. I'm not going to risk my health or my family's or make my family worry anymore. During my junior year, I had multiple panic attacks and anxiety attacks because I got more responsibility because my mom has to work to provide for us. So does my dad. So does my sister, who is in college. We shouldn't have to worry about that. And because I don't want to add stress to anyone else, I don't talk about it. I can't give you statistics. I can only tell you what I know. And what I know is that people are suffering, and people do not talk about it. And they don't talk about it because they're absolutely freaking terrified that other people will attack them for it. don't talk about what's going on. If they're stressed, they don't talk about it. If they are having a good time or a bad time, they don't talk about it, so they can't get help. They can't communicate with people because they're either scared or they can't just because they aren't with people around their own age or with people who will listen. I used to live in Pennsylvania, and that was the most horrible time in my life because I would deal with bullying, and I hated school. You guys made me hate school again because I am stuck in an area where I can't communicate. The only people I trust are my teachers, and I can't even talk to them face to face right now. Teachers are who protect us. They make us feel safe. You take that away when we can't talk to them, when we are stuck in 1-hour classrooms, when they can't understand us or we can't understand them because they are wearing a mask and they can't understand what we are saying through it. You limit our ability to speak. You limit our ability to express ourselves. And for some odd reason, I keep on stuttering right now. The masks and everything else people do to restrict the students will have long-term effects. They won't be able to talk. They won't have people skills, which will affect their futures in so many ways. Future relationships, future job offers, their chances of getting into a good college. Because you need to communicate in order to make people understand you. If you can't communicate, they won't understand and they won't be able to help you. I spent years with that hope. My mom was the only person I trust. I don't want to bother her with stuff like this anymore because I'm afraid that will add stress to her. Same with my sister. And because of that, everything gets bottled inside. If everything's bottled inside, it will one day come out. And it will be a wreck for everyone involved, and it's not just me. People hide because they're afraid of being attacked. And I don't want to feel afraid anymore. So please, stop listening to someone who is trying to take over what should be free and allow people to be themselves.
Felicia Capo.
I came here tonight not intending to speak, but I've been empowered by everybody in this room who's had something to say, so thank you, everyone. I'm really disappointed with the mask mandate this year. I live at Tall Tree Court here in Jackson. My son is going to be a third grader at Elms, and over the course of the last year of him wearing a mask, he's been sick in his entire life, and now he's developed a chronic cough that he cannot get rid of because of wearing that mask. When the mask mandate was lifted in June of last year, I asked his principal when I dropped him off at school and saw that 80% of the staff, students, and teachers did not have masks on. I asked him, how did it feel to not have your mask on today? And his word was liberating. I think we all feel liberated not wearing a mask every day, that we're able to see people breathe, smile, laugh, have conversations. Murphy has enacted this executive order, which makes absolutely no sense. There's no logic, there's no science behind it. He gets on a plane, flies himself over to Italy so that he can hobnob with tens of thousands of people, I'm sure not wearing a mask, and comes back here and then tells everybody that we need to send our kids to school with a mask. How much power do we want this guy to have? It's all about fear and control and propaganda and not about science anymore. I really think that if a parent wants to send their kids to school with a mask because that's what makes them feel comfortable, by all means they should have the opportunity to do that. But if a parent doesn't want to send their kids to school with a mask and the science backs that up, that masks do nothing to harm children, which we know that they do, or protect children, then parents should have that right to send their kids to school with no mask on so they can interact with their teachers, interact with other children, interact with staff. Masks are unnecessary. The science has proven that. I mean, it even says when you buy a box of masks, does not prevent COVID-19. So if it says it right on the box, we know that it doesn't prevent anything other than just stifling our children, fear and control, and if we continue to comply, what is going to be next from this governor? I think we all need to stand up as a community together and say enough is enough and let our children go to school mask-free or at least mask-optional for those parents that want to send their kids to school that way. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Marlene Fernandez.
Good evening. I actually have two age school students, both in elementary school. And last year we did remote option. My kids did wonderful with it. Now that they have to wear a mask, I honestly feel that how is my second grader going to understand the teacher when the teacher's trying to sound out a word to her? If she can't see the teacher's face, how is she going to be able to speak clearly, to read, to write, if she can't see her teacher, if she can't see her friends' faces? You know, everybody's worried about their paycheck, about the school funding, but let's look, how much of a budget cut has Jackson lost already and will continue to lose? If that's what you guys are worried about, I'm pretty sure these parents here, including myself, will help the school in any way we possibly can. I really think that there needs to be some type of option given to the parents. Last time I checked, I'm the mom, not Governor Murphy. I make my kids' decisions. If I do not want to send them to school where they're entitled to a free public education, then I will not send them to school with a mask on. Sir, I said to you earlier, I couldn't understand you. And it's true. And can I ask you personally, are you wearing an N95 mask? You're not. Are you, sir? You're not. You are not wearing a mask? Awesome. I applaud you for that. Right on, okay? You, sir, you're wearing a cloth mask. That's not protecting you. Do you wash it every single day? When you get home? I doubt it. How many of you today came into this building, went in your glove console, your glove box, brushed off a little mask and said, oh, gotta put this on? I'm pretty sure it's almost everybody that does that. They're not clean. Do you think a kindergartner is going to know that I have to wear a clean mask? I have to keep changing my mask. Oh, I got boogies in my mask. They're not going to do that. That is going to cause them more harm than anything. Give the parents an option. We know our children. Thank you. My daughter had something to say, if that's all right.
If this is the land of the free, we should have a free choice to wear masks.
Meg Gardella.
Megan Gardella, 21 Peacock Lane. I've been thinking a lot about this. Negotiation, the definition, is a discussion aimed at reaching an agreement. And compromise is an agreement or a settlement of a dispute that is reached by each side making concessions. We, as a community, are not making any negotiations and no compromises. There's a couple of areas to the mask policy that I think the Board of Education, I'm urging you guys to think about. There's some very vague areas. This opening plan that was presented to the parents wasn't really an outline of what the mask policy, when I read the executive order, says the Board of Education will develop a mask policy. In it, it states that the district will provide our students with appropriate mask breaks. And a little 9-year-old told us that her teacher didn't give mask breaks and the person next door did. And I have 3 students in the schools, and I know that that's the case. So as a parent who is willing to negotiate and compromise, I'm asking that it be a little more specific so that maybe we don't have these arguments. Hey, you know what? They take a mask break every 30 minutes. Or, oh, in the hallways, they wear their masks, but at their desk, that's their space, they take it down. I just think that you might avoid some of these confrontations as we would a teenage child if we were to negotiate and compromise. The 2 most important skills that anybody who needs to learn social skills needs to know. Everybody in this room. My second area is excessive heat. That's great. I'm happy. I'm glad they won't have to wear excessive heat. What is excessive heat to the Board of Education? Is it over 65 degrees, 70 degrees, 80 degrees, 90 degrees, 110 with humidity? Can you tell us? We need to know. We're making decisions as parents, and your policy is very vague or actually non-existent because I didn't read it. My second point is discipline. If it's left up to the district when a student can take a mask break or a teacher, if this kid needs to take a break, how is discipline going to look? Is it if period 1 teacher gives you a break every 30 minutes or at your desk and period 2 doesn't, and you say, because we all know high school kids, well, my period 1 teacher told me it doesn't make me wear a mask. What's the discipline for this? Because all your principals, they need to know. It's not fair. You're going to have one principal lenient and another not lenient. And you know what? As a parent, I'm going to ask to move my kid to the lenient one. You need to have some guidelines for us, and that's why people are upset. Second, instructional. I have a first grader. She's got no front teeth. She can't say nothing. I'm in the dentist chair. She has her mask up. They ask a question. I know I have 30 seconds. They can't understand her. How are we doing phonics-based instruction with masks on? Are we changing that curriculum? I'll stand by you guys, okay? We're looking at funding. The governor's saying we all have opinions. I'm keeping all that out. I'm looking at you and saying, you didn't give us a mask policy. That executive order asked for one. And you guys are falling short, so if you approve whatever this opening plan is tonight, I really think that you need to second guess why you're up at this table. You need to be firm. Kids need expectations.
That's time, thank you. It's time.
She's bringing it to me. Thank you. Ireland Nathans.
Hello, my name is Ireland Nathans, and I'm going to be talking about how I hate masks. I have extreme anxiety with masks, and my teachers are bullying me. It is very bad and wrong to mask your children. It's very bad and it's wrong. I hate masks, which is the worst thing I ever had, which I want me and my sister have a great school and a better school.
Kristen Ackerman.
Good evening. I wasn't going to talk tonight because I felt like I didn't have a place. Oh. Can you hear me? I wasn't going to talk tonight because I felt like I didn't have a place. However, I am my daughter's literal voice. She just entered Jackson School District the Early Start program. To get her in that program, I won't even go with the war I had with Jackson School District because COVID was used as an excuse. I am not the person to use COVID as an excuse for because I'm a first responder for the last 15 years and I've been working elbows deep in this from day one. I didn't get to use COVID as an excuse not to do my job because if I didn't do my job, people died. However, my daughter is a 3-year-old nonverbal autistic child with sensory issues and focus issues and socialization issues and any other plethora of issues associated with autism. We have it in her IEP per state. There are state laws that I was educated by through my own research and through her private therapist that I spend a lot of money for to help her. That special needs kids, and quite frankly, should be for all kids, should not be wearing masks. Psychology 101 for child psychology is they rely on facial expressions for communication. It is a part of their brain development. I pay a lot of money for private therapy because the system has failed my daughter. She was in early intervention for 2 years, and half of her early intervention was canceled because of COVID. Fine. However, you're not paying for her therapy, and the government is not paying for her therapy, and neither is Murphy. And the fact that they're going against her IEP and forcing a mask on her face is not okay. I am extremely angry. I'm a new resident of Jackson, been here for about 2.5 years, and this is my first run-in with the Jackson School District, and I am not happy. I'm not happy that this is where my tax dollars are going.
1 minute.
You guys need to start putting our children first and their well-being first, because I'll tell you firsthand, I've had more overdoses, overdose deaths, suicide calls, psychiatric evaluation calls, and alcohol-related calls of all ages, including children and adults alike, because of this pandemic and masks and everything going on, because it's been so heavily politicized. What happened to our rights and our freedom? I did not sign consent with you or the government to help raise my daughter. It is my job as her parent and my husband's job as her father to do what's best for her. And wearing a mask, if you're going to force a mask on her face and she experiences further delays because of it, I'll start handing you all of her therapy and doctor's bills.
Ria Stamagorgas.
My name is Ria Stamagorgas. I live here in Jackson. I have 2 children who attend here in Memorial. I'm listening to everybody tonight, and I just want to say, it's not just the kids. It's the teachers, administration, the staff, the bus drivers, everybody. I'm here for my child, I'm here for their children, but I'm here for everybody, because the teachers probably don't want to be wearing the mask. The bus driver probably does not want to be wearing it. The janitor, nobody. So I'm here for everybody. My question is, Murphy now is telling us that if we do not comply, he will cut our funding. Is that pretty much the threat? That's the threat. So when are we going to stop selling ourselves out for the money? That's the bottom line. As a society, as humans, we sell ourselves out for the money all the time. And I'm done with that. I don't want to sell my kid out, their teachers, the janitors, the bus drivers, you guys, nobody for the money. And he did this now on purpose to the end of August. He didn't tell us about all these mandates he was going to make in June so we could prepare and we could come together with all the districts in Jersey and say, no, we're not complying. I do not consent.
because I do not consent. So he did it last minute where we cannot come together and band together and work together. Now, I'm going to tell you there are lawsuits. There are lawsuits. Free mass in New Jersey, free our kids in New Jersey under Bruce. Yes, there's lawsuits. West Milford, correct? West Milford yesterday, the Board of Education came online with them and they kind of signed on because through this lawsuit, it's going to help you guys individually as a Board of Education. Maybe you guys could look into that. I can email you guys the information. I see also threatening you guys to take the licensing away.
One minute.
The licensing of the administration, that's what I also heard. He's threatening you guys in other ways also. Is that true? Because that's bullying. That's wrong. He is a bully, I know. My point is just, I've been thinking about this for the past week, and I have so many thoughts going on in my head, but I do want to make a point. Have you read the BRIC letter, the Board of Education letter to Murphy? It was beautiful, because they nicely gave it to him in a really nice way, because him and his family went to Italy last week. Even though the CDC said that the cases are going up in Italy, and we do not recommend any American traveling to Italy and other whatever countries it was, but Italy. But Murphy made the decision on his own, and what was right for him and his family, to go to a place that the CDC said that the cases are going up. So you're a hypocrite. He's a hypocrite. So he's making me and teachers and my kids and all these kids, you know what I mean, these kids wear masks. And yet he's a hypocrite and went to Italy, even though the CDC advised
That's time, thank you.
to stay away from Italy. That makes you really think.
Michelle Russell.
Michelle Russell, 5 Banyan Court. So as we have heard at these meetings before and also through many people here tonight, Bill Murphy has already taken our money away. He's already done it. So what's to say he's not going to do it again? He's giving us idle threats. We don't obey him. We don't follow his orders. He's going to take it away. So my concern here is that I'm nervous that our board won't stand up to him. And then we're always going to be at his beck and call. So I'm telling and asking everybody, I'm personally voting against Murphy. That is my voice. That is what I'm doing. He needs to be stopped. We need a governor who is going to listen to parents, citizens, taxpayers, our kids, our students, everybody. So I urge everybody, tell everybody you know, vote, register to vote, but make a stand, use your voice, vote against Murphy, and vote for Jack Chidarelli.
And there's another list. Brian Ackerman.
Good evening, everyone. First of all, thank you for every single parent who is standing in this room right now representing the rights of our children, because clearly, the people sitting in front of us forgot what those rights were long ago. Someone just talked about voting out Phil Murphy. You want to figure out the next people you need to vote out? The people that do not have any faith and belief that our children are going to be safe. They are not here representing the children, okay? I will continuously vote for whoever supports my family. I don't care about party affiliation or anything else like that. If you're representing my family and my family's rights, I will continue to vote for you and I will back you till the end of the earth. Okay? So, clearly your policies aren't that great. Let's use your extended school year policies with masking. So, during the extended school year, no masking. It was beautiful. My daughter had 0 issues. He was great in school. Tuesday, The day after Phil Murphy announced mandatory masking, Jackson School District messed it up royally, okay? I bring my daughter to school, boom, there's a sign as you have to mask. No emails, no nothing, no information, okay? My daughter had 0 problems every single day prior to that in extended school year. Teacher walks out like, oh, Kylie had a really bad day today. Like, oh, we tried to mask her. It's in her IEP, she doesn't need to wear a mask. Well, it's in her IEP, we're supposed to work on it. No, her IEP is she does not need to wear a mask, okay? And then the better part was the employees sitting in the building were messing up the policy. They're, oh, never mind, we can take our masks off. Oh, no, never mind, that's just for busing. Can someone please explain to me the difference between a bus and a school? There is 0 difference, okay? That little adorable noise most of you have been hearing all night is my happy little daughter running around, okay? We are here as parents representing our children. I understand I have a minute left, but at the end of the day, pretty sure there's maybe only one person behind me, and I'd like to hear back again from some of the people that already spoke before that they cut off, okay? We are here as parents. We will always support you. Everyone's talking about funding, worried about funding. Anyone hear about what the Department of Education came out and said? Department of Education came out and said that the states cannot restrict federal funding to school districts based on mask mandates. So stop caring about the money and start caring about the damn children. Thank you.
Isabella Rose.
Good evening, everybody. Can everyone hear me okay? Okay. My name is Isabella Rose. I'm going to be a junior at Jackson Liberty High School. I am 15 years old, and I play varsity softball for my school. One day, I was at my practice, and my coach came over to me, and she explained to me that I had to go home. I didn't know why. I was frankly very confused. But I was pulled to the side, and she explained to me I had to be sent home because someone I knew caught COVID. So I was being forced to quarantine for 2 weeks. Those 2 weeks, I could have been practicing and getting better, but I did not. That happened again 3 times. So in total, I was quarantined for over a month, and I had no softball season. I started playing when I was a freshman. I did not have 1 season in my years at being at Jackson Liberty High School. And frankly, I was very upset because I was not that good at it. I could have gotten better, but I didn't have the time. So this year, I want that to be different. And I want to go and I want to spend time with my friends and not have to get sent home because someone I knew caught COVID and I was forced to sit home. Thank you.
Jeff Nemeth.
Good evening. You guys can hear me okay? What a sad world we live in, man. First and foremost, there should never be a price tag on something of this importance. So, with the importance of what we're discussing tonight, for there to be a time limit and you to be more concerned with that we have 1 minute left to talk, I really think you need to reevaluate that. There should be no time limit for the importance of this, with all due respect. This is probably the most important Board of Education meeting this town has ever had. And not for nothing, guys, if you have any thoughts in your mind and you haven't got up, you got to get your asses up every last one of you should be heard. Guys, I don't know if you're listening to this on deaf ears or not, but I think every one of you has taken an oath for this prestigious position you have, correct? Have you taken oaths? So when you take an oath, I'm looking right up there, it says the Jackson Board of Education. Jackson, hence, that means our children that you're teaching. So you took an oath to take care of our children, not an oath to cater to Phil Murphy, right? So when it comes down to that, our children are a slam dunk. Phil Murphy, by the way, the same gentleman who, being that this is basically a Republican-dominated town, reduced funding to our schools, just in case any of you taxpayers didn't know that. I sure as hell know it because I paid a lot more taxes, and it was all due to less funding for our schools. And you guys can look that up, and that's the excuse why our taxes went up. So, your job, guys, is to take care of the people in this town that you swore to look out for. Listen, we're not asking you to revolt. Hear the people here. Please take it seriously. And if there's something that you can do, rather than being dominated by a person who can give a crap less about this town because we don't cater to them, then do it, please. You know, you have a lot of kids who, last year, by the way, they were all masked. And if I'm not mistaken, I have a high school age daughter who, what were they here for? About 4 hours last year. It was a condensed schedule.
1 minute.
I'm not worried about that. So now you guys are telling us they have to mask up for another 2 hours. So last year it was worse, but now they're actually they're getting a worse circumstance. So, I mean, if you can see clear as day how this is worsened, you guys really, really got to take a step back and look in the mirror, because you have a lot of people out here relying on you to maybe step up and, you know, and maybe push back a little bit, because this town is being taken for, and this entire state are being taken for fools for the sake of political garbage and not our children's lives. Please take it with, please take it seriously. Take it home with you and think about it, guys.
Michelle Lazarus.
Michelle Lazarus, 90 Azalea Circle, Jackson. I'm a mother of 3 kids, 2 of school age, 1 starting kindergarten and orientation tomorrow. She is anxious and nervous about wearing a mask. She has a speech delay, and I'm afraid as her advocate that she isn't going to get the teacher's attention and help that she needs because she is hidden behind a mask. That's my worry. And as her parent, I will fight for her tonight, tomorrow, and her entire school education. My son is 8, he's starting in 3rd grade. He loves school and he loves to learn. He cries about school now. When you lifted the mandates in June because of the heat, he was happy and loving school again. He's now anxious and cries about school and honestly doesn't even want to go. That's not fair to him. My daughter will meet her teacher tomorrow and they'll barely know one another because they're both hidden behind masks. 8:40 to 3:15 in a mask is abuse for my kids and our kids. You lifted the mask mandate because of the heat, and frankly, it's even hotter in September than it is in June. Advocate for our kids.
Danielle Zalordis. Danielle, who lives at 20 Rayocas Drive.
Hi, everyone. I was not planning on speaking here tonight, but again, listening to the parents and the children really inspired me. I have 2 school-age children. One who is about to head into 3rd grade that I pulled her out of school this morning. She will not be attending your school. My 8-year-old daughter is such a happy-go-lucky kid, and last year was the most heartbreaking time of my life to watch her be so upset and depressed about going to school, not being able to see the faces of her friends. And I couldn't do that. As soon as I heard that Murphy was going to bring these mask mandates out again, because of course tourism season is over, so he has his agenda, I pulled her out. My son, who is going to be in 9th grade, he's starting high school at this wonderful school. He wants to still go because he is looking forward to the opportunities in high school. He has his orientation tomorrow. I'm putting you all on notice. He will not be wearing a mask. He will also make sure to carry a water bottle and a snack with him wherever he goes in the hallway or in his class, because he will not be wearing one again. Thank you.
Madison McCulloch.
Hi, I am Madison McCulloch. I live on 116 Leanne Drive, and I am going to be a freshman at Jackson Memorial High School. Last year, I was a virtual student at Getz Middle School, and for the first 3 marking periods, my math grade was amazing, like above 95, and that is the best in math I have ever done. But as soon as the teachers went back into school and had to wear masks, I couldn't understand my teacher. My grade went to the low 80s, almost 70s, and my teacher didn't know how to use the chat on Google Classroom. So when I would type a question, I never got an answer, and she wasn't really good at answering her emails either. So I almost could have failed math class because I couldn't understand someone because they were wearing a mask. Now, someone who's going into 9th grade, if they can't understand someone who's wearing a mask, how is someone in kindergarten or 1st grade supposed to learn how to say words and form sentences?
I'm Madison's father. My name is Jason McCulloch. A couple questions I have. Did the board look for any study where wearing a mask 6 hours a day and how it's going to be detrimental to that child's health day in, day out, 5 days a week for an entire school year? Because I haven't seen one study on what it's going to do to their health. Secondly, this is an election year. There's board members up for election. If we don't have the backing of the board, it's time to replace those members. Thank you.
Ella Boyle.
Hello, my name is Ella Boyle, and I used to go to school, and I used to enjoy it so much, but now with all the masks, I haven't been loving school anymore. I haven't been able to be seeing my friends' reactions to what I say to them, and especially with my anxiety, that doesn't help at all. And I really need some help with that, and that does not help at all. So I really need some help with people allowing masks, because it's really hard for these kids, especially like me, that really need this. And it's really hard for me not to be able to look at my friends and see how they are or something. I can't help them. I can't look at them, and I don't enjoy school as much as I used to. Now that all the masks are here, it's not as fun as it used to be.
Darlene Demarest.
Darlene, can you hear me? Darlene Demarest, Justin Way, Jackson.
My kids graduated already, 2014, 2016 from the Jackson School District. I wasn't going to speak, but as a former PTO vice president, I was coming to support the kids and the faculty that want the right to choose. However, listening, I really hope that it isn't all based on funding. As board members, you ran based on the premise of working for the kids. It's time to do just that, and to stand up to the bully. This isn't just about a mask, it's about a choice. If we don't start standing up for the mask, where will it end? I don't know about you, but many of my family members fought for our freedoms. I question your hands are tied, really. What happened to if we don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything? Sometimes all it takes is just one to make a change. Rosa Parks just simply said no. She made a change. Be the one, be the board that takes a stand to make a change. Be the difference.
Sophia Stamagogris.
Can you hear me? All right. I kind of just signed up. I didn't really have a plan, but I'm going to start off. I'm going to say I'm a sophomore going into, sophomore year here at Jackson Memorial. And I'm going to be honest, I don't consent to these masks. I don't, because you know what? High schools have enough stress on our shoulders. You know, we have school, sports, activities, like our own personal problems, and now you're going to put a mask on us? I mean, honestly, I refuse to wear one. I won't go to school if I have to wear a mask, because you know what? I have enough to do, all right? My second point is, you know, if there's one thing that I learned this year, I've learned a lot, I'll say that. I have learned a lot, and I've had my own personal growth, but if there's one thing that I learned, it's you have the choice to do anything at any given moment. If you want to go to Italy, fly to Italy. I mean, if you want to go like on a road trip, go on a road trip, because you could do anything. You know, I get that these are like the mandates from Murphy, but you have the choice if you want to have them. You know, we have a huge audience here, a huge show up, and we don't want to wear masks. You know, we have the choice to choose what we want to do. You know, and change isn't going to happen if we're not different. You know, change doesn't happen when you stay in the line. You know, if you're going to be like everybody else, you're not going to stand out. And if we don't stand up and we don't stand out and, you know, make our mark, nothing's going to happen. You know, like my mom, she was actually going to put me out of school. And you know what? That's a good thing to do, because that's going to show other people, you know, if more people get pulled out, that's going to show. You know, it's going to make a difference. You know, nothing happens when you stand in line. Step out of line. You know, be the change.
Brad Nathans.
Good evening. I just got a question for all of you on the board here. Do you guys sit in your offices and have your masks off? My name is Brad Nathans, 13 Dover Street. Do any of you take your masks off while you're sitting in your offices? Do you take your masks off when you sit in the office?
We're going to respond to the public participation at the end.
Okay. So that means yes. I have family members that work within the district. They have to wear masks all day, along with my children, all day. Do you see that something doesn't seem right? They have issues with my children. They have anxiety. I've seen from day one, March 19th, when this whole 14 flatten the curve, Murphy, whole speech he had, 14 days to flatten the curve. We're on day what, 500 plus now? Curve has not been, it's been diminished. Nothing. You're still advocating to tell children to wear masks. You're still having employees wear masks. Where is the common sense in that? I know you can't answer me right now. I know. I get it. Your hands are tied. Totally get it. But when are you going to start sticking up for your employees, for the children? These kids are suffering. Us as parents see it every day. My child, my oldest, was honor student. She got awards, everything. It all changed when she started wearing masks. It all changed when she started doing remote learning. She didn't want to do it anymore.
that bright star started to dim. I don't want this happening to my youngest. She's going into kindergarten this year. If any of you have children, how could you feel as a parent seeing your child not want to go to school anymore? How would that make you feel? Especially a child that just craved to be with her friends, to play every day. Ask yourselves that. When you make a decision coming, whenever it comes, ask yourself that. How would you feel as a parent to see your child come home and just beaten down from teachers? Wear your mask, wear your mask, keep them on, not understanding.
1 minute.
I get that. We all plainly can see that. But you know what? Us as parents, the ones that are here, you guys all care. We need to show them we care. They work for us. We pay the taxes in this town. They need to advocate for our children. And you know what? I'll be the first one to help out. If you guys need help advocating, I will be there with you. I'm the first one to help anyone out. John, you know, your van got stuck in the snow. I helped pull you out. I'm the first one there. And I will help any one of you parents. When you're fighting for your child's right, I will be there. My wife will be there. Our kids will be there with you guys. Thank you.
Jamie Lehman.
Hello, my name is Jamie Lohman. I live at 10 Georgian Boulevard. So, I'm here to tell you about my daughter's incident. On May 3rd, 2021, I'm sorry, it's really hard to get through. My daughter walked around school all day long, not feeling very well. Not one teacher, not one aide could see that she was suffering underneath there. She came home from school, she took her mask off her face. I was like, baby, are you okay? Is something wrong? She goes, Mommy, I don't know. I'm not feeling myself. I just don't know what's wrong. It didn't look good to me. If those teachers would have saw her face, they would have sent her home to me a lot sooner. I spent 5 days in the hospital with my kid, 2 days in the ICU. I understand her diagnosis is not anybody's fault, but a fluke accident, a freak accident that happened. But if a teacher, an aide, a lunch aide, anybody would have seen her, they would have sent her to the nurse, and I would have been able to act a lot faster. My daughter was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. She cannot have that mask on her face all day long. Not one teacher was able to see that she was plummeting. I sat in the doctor's office at 3 o'clock in the afternoon with my child, almost passing out. Her blood sugar level was 800. 800. Not one teacher, aide. I could have lost my child that day. Please stop masking our children. Make it our choice. Make it our choice. And I would like to add, I did email each and every one of you shortly after that happened. I didn't hear anything from you guys. I emailed you over the summer. Didn't hear not one thing from you guys. I emailed you today. Nothing from either one of you. Please make it our choice. Don't let this happen to another child.
Alex Gomez.
Hello, my name is Alex Gomez. I'm going to be a senior next semester. My address is 637 West Commodore Boulevard. So, anyways, this whole COVID thing, next semester, I'm going to have to go back to school pretending like this is all normal when it's not. I can't even interact with my friends the same. And then, it's not only that, it's also the kids. How are they supposed to get friendships and stuff when they have to distance themselves from each other and wear masks where they can't even see each other's expressions? Also, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but you've been coughing all the time. And he's been wearing the mask, but he's been lifting it up, touching his face, all that. Imagine if that was your kids in the seat. Imagine if that was your kids in the seat, touching their face, getting sick, even though it shows that the masks don't do anything. I'm sorry, I'm getting nervous over this, but I also have ADHD, right? So after wearing my mask for 30 minutes, I start squirming and trying to take it off and stuff. Imagine the kids that try to take their masks off. You're just gonna shut them down when they can't really control it. Exactly.
Elizabeth Taylor.
Can you hear me? Okay. My name is Elizabeth Taylor. I am lucky enough that my daughter, Elena, was accepted for senior privilege this year. Due to COVID, due to the fact that the day the lockdown occurred, my husband left us. We had to move. Elena herself is a very courageous girl who has always stood up for others. Education, the way it has been made, education is supposed to teach our children how to interact with each other, how to critically think, to question authority. Specifically because if you do not question authority, you don't know what's going to happen next. You cannot form your own opinions. One person's opinion should not dictate what everybody else does. Now, the problem here is all of these children are no longer being taught education. They are being restricted. They are not able to interact with each other or their teachers. Their facial expressions are restricted. They cannot tell what is going on. Their health is being impacted. On top of that, you turn around and what we're teaching them is not tolerance. What we're teaching them is not to question what's going on, to form their own opinions. We are teaching them about segregation. We are teaching them about prejudice. We are teaching them to fear. We are teaching them to hate. And we are teaching them to bully each other because they don't know where to turn next. My daughter was on remote learning last year because she cannot wear a mask. She was kicked out of her pediatric practice because the doctor who told our family to stop vaccinating our children's insurance company said he couldn't keep her there anymore. She has MTHFR gene
1 minute.
mutation. My daughter became autistic from a vaccine. She had pediatric arthritis from a vaccine. She cannot do this stuff, and because she's not supposed to do it, people attack her. So what are we teaching kids by turning around and insisting that they segregate, that they feed the fear instead of learning to understand what other people are going through, learning empathy, and teaching each other to support each other instead of attack?
Jeanette DeFilippo.
Hello to all of you. I'm new to Jackson. I came here in February of 2020. It feels like it was doomsday. We moved to this district. My daughters were remaining in their own district. One of my daughters has a 504. We felt that was the best move. Over that half of year and all of last year, my once amazingly verbal and outgoing daughter went through a case of depression that is still unresolved, several self-harming attacks, and she was a hybrid child. So what I did find through that time, anytime she was in school face-to-face, she was able to cope with the situation. When she was forced to attend school virtually, she couldn't handle it. And I'm telling you, I begged my child. I yelled at my child. I screamed at my child. I called the police on my child to comply, get on virtual. As I said, her issues are still not resolved, but she's looking forward to a new start in high school. I'm hoping for her to be able to gain some of that confidence that she once had. And I know most of that confidence came from her peers, and it was her adult peers. The teachers understand her in a way that most kids her age don't. She's one of a kind. And this situation that we have here, what I don't understand about it is, it seems very easy to make accommodations. And the governor is making it more difficult for families. We all understand that. I agree with every parent in this room. And it's not about politics for me. It is about the facts and the data. And these kids, I can tell you how, 1 minute, I know. So 1 minute, I'm gonna take that last minute to say the most important thing I can say here. Everybody in this room and your friends who are not here because they couldn't be, not because they don't care, we all have to get out and vote in November. And unfortunately, I'm going to beg you all to stand with me against this board if they do not come up with a mask policy that will allow choice.
Tracy Gotti.
Tracy Gaddy with an A. I did want to let you guys know, can you hear me now? Out of all the meetings that we've done or plans that we've seen, you've always given us a choice. You sent out a survey every time. Where's the survey? Where did you give us a choice in any of this? We don't have to comply with Governor Murphy. There are many districts that have already waged a war. I am letting you know, I have 4 children at Jackson Liberty High School, and none of them will be wearing a mask.
I have a name that I can't, excuse me, I have a name that I can't read. It looks like Ray, I can't read the rest of it.
I'm only back because 2 speakers reminded me of something that is very important. And I don't think I'll get close to the Wizards' 3-minute mandate. It's funny, the board put a mandate on us even though we're arguing against mandates. One gentleman reminded me about the Board of Education election in November. There's a group running called the Jackson 4, and they're running all together, and I belong to a Facebook page about a mass discussion in Jackson. And today, earlier this afternoon, that group hosted a long dissertation, which I will summarize and paraphrase, basically saying, even if we agree with you, you got to understand there's nothing the board can do. Their hands are tied. They're talking like politicians and they haven't even been elected yet. If that is their true sense, we need new candidates in November and vote against the Jackson 4. Second point, we talked about the Board of Education, and I've been in Jackson 20 years and I've been through all types of elections. Board of Education elections are so unlike any other elections. Mr. Walsh, you know you've ran several times. State, local, federal, there's myriad of issues. I guarantee every one of you in your campaign literature and every candidate for the Board of Education in 20 years said, trust me with your kids. I'll take care of your kids. I'm here for the kids. Well, now It's put up or shut up time.
Crichton McEnany.
My name is Peyton, and sometimes when I'm in school, it's hard to breathe and I can't understand my friends or my teacher, and it's hard for everything to understand everyone.
Andrew Donegan.
Andrew Donegan, 121 Whisper Oaks Way, Jackson. I have 3 beautiful daughters in this school district, and I just have a couple questions for you guys. I wasn't going to get up here today because basically everyone's hands are tied and, you know, funding's getting cut and all that. But I just have a couple questions for you guys. When you leave here on the weekends and you go to your restaurants and you sit down and eat, that's okay? What's the difference between kids walking into a schoolroom and taking their masks off once they sit down? What's the difference? I was just at the boardwalk last weekend and there was 15,000 people there. Was there a breakout? No, there wasn't. I've done some research recently. You could do it yourself. Go to the New Jersey government, right? You go on there and look, how many deaths have there been over the month? Average case per week, 1. What's the population of Ocean County? 600 plus thousand. 1 person out of 600 plus thousand, and we're shutting it all down. Why can I go to the gym and work out? Why can I go to my office and hang out with adults who get sick? No problems. But when it comes to our kids, we're masking them up. For what? These masks you guys have on, where's the box you got them out of? Did you ever read the side of it? Does not prevent COVID or any virus, especially the blue ones that you got on. So just ask yourself, why can I do these things but kids can't? Thank you.
Lori Gosinski.
Hi everyone, can you hear me? My name is Laura Gazinski, 284 Frank Applegate Road. Just want to start by saying I have 6 kids that went through the Jackson system, 3 are still in it. Unfortunately, with the masks and everything with COVID, they no longer had to socialize. They are clueless. When they go to school with the masks on, they get rashes, they have trouble breathing. A question for you, which you're not going to know, but for everybody, what's the long-term side effects of the masks? Those fibers are going in your lungs. You cannot tell me damage is not being done. Kids, they don't work. And a fact that they don't work, my house had COVID 3 times in the past year. You know what? We're fine. So our body knows how to fight it. Here's another thing. Florida has the most cases of COVID, but you know what? Florida schools, masks are optional. Shocking, right? Kids don't know how to socialize. My kids hate school at this point. My kid's a senior. He went from honors to failing last year. They don't care anymore. They've given up. When is enough? I'm asking for a couple things. Either give them the option. I'm asking Murphy, who is clueless, to actually let them wear the mask optional. Let them decide. Let them be the choice. Worst comes to worst, put remote learning back on the board. That does work for the younger ones. I can't say for the older ones, but the younger ones it does work. And then here's something which nobody has brought up, but I'm telling you now, you're opening Pandora's box with bringing in the mask, because next they're going to mandate the vaccine for these kids. And I'm 110% opposed to that. I will pull the kids out before they have to go through that, because there is no long-term side effects on it. Thank you.
Madam President, that was the last one on my list.
Folks, if we could just, I understand you have opinions, but we'd like to make sure everybody gets an opportunity to speak who signed up. So, Ms. Richardson, can you read the next name?
That was the last name.
Sorry, I didn't realize it was the last name.
We need a motion.
I need a motion to close public session.
Motion to close public session.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Ms. Parmelli, could you please respond to
I
those
would,
questions?
I would like to respond to some of the comments, but I'm not going to respond if I'm being called a coward. At the beginning of the meeting, I did ask for some respect. I would not be disrespectful to you, so I'd please ask that you let me respond. Folks, I understand there's a lot of emotion. I've heard a lot of emotion in tonight's comments. As I said in the beginning, this is a very difficult situation to be in. I would hope that we could all appreciate that. I feel that we are in a very difficult place, that we have people in our audience who clearly are disappointed in our governor's executive order, and I would hope that you would take that passion to the governor's office. As that really is where it belongs. I do want to address a couple of comments that were made. I will wait. Thank you. I did listen to each and every one of you. I did take copious notes, and I will review those notes with the board. Again, I want to address a couple of comments and correct some misconceptions, I think. The first is, and I will own this if this came across as the only reason we are following an executive order is due to funding. That is not true. There are sanctions against districts who do not follow executive orders. That has been told to us. It has also been demonstrated by some in other districts. For example, Middletown, I know somebody has sent me the resolution. There has been conversation from the governor's office to Middletown that they will sanction them in a variety of different ways. So there are other sanctions besides funding. It is not the only reason for following an executive order. It is treated as a law to us.
Ladies and gentlemen, can you please let Ms. Parmelli speak?
Thank you. There are other sanctions. Somebody mentioned one before about licensing, suing the district, jail time. There are others, Mr. Zittimer, I don't know if you can recall a couple of the other ones in the executive order for the sanctions.
The executive order itself, 251, spells out sanctions. It talks about fines of up to $1,000 per person. It talks about imprisonment up to 6 months. Ms. Parmelli's correct. If you have an issue with it, and it's obvious you do, and I'm not disagreeing with you, you need to speak to your local legislators. You need to speak to the governor, because that's where it came down from. It's the truth.
So I don't want to respond to all the call-outs. I really don't. I think I'm not going to comment on anything else unless it's quiet. So I am an advocate for students. I'm a deep advocate for students in my 30-year career, and I'm going to be done. If I continue to be interrupted, I will be done.
Sir, you don't have a right to disrupt a public meeting, okay? So please, please.
So, thank you, I appreciate that. Again, it is a very difficult situation to be in, and we are trying to work our way through it, but again, we are required to file an executive order. Your displeasure with the executive order really needs to go to the governor's office. We did make a plea to the governor in the spring. We did put a survey out to everybody, and we did say to our governor in a letter that we wanted masks optional. And as you know, we were offering that for the fall in our original plan until the executive order came out. I know this is not pleasing to you to hear this, but we are required to follow the executive order. So I understand your perspective. We've heard you. I would like to also say that for the students that get up, I appreciate your courage in which that took to come to the mic. And I'm proud of the students who have the courage to do that. We do ask for our students to be able to voice their opinion, so I appreciate that. The other thing I wanted to address again was details. I know, Ms. Gardella, you had asked for some additional details, and those are forthcoming. We do have a policy in place for the appendix that are on the agenda tonight, and we are reviewing what our consequences are for not wearing a mask and all of that, and all those details will be forthcoming. So we wanted to get the information out to you because we had been quiet for a while. We were waiting to see what other executive orders would come to us. I know that right now it's upsetting and frustrating to all of you, and trust me, that's not what I want our parents to feel or our students to feel. And as I started this meeting by saying, it's a difficult situation, and I hope that we can all work through it, and we will do whatever we can to help ease the burden for students in the classroom. We are looking at mask breaks. We are ensuring that we take them frequently, and we allow students to have that opportunity because we do know it's a long day. So with that, more details will be coming, and and I didn't see any other specific questions that I needed to answer in the moment. Thank you.
Board comments, Mr. Spoltoff.
I will answer one question in regards to the details. It is a policy, it is an executive order. We will ask for a child to put the mask on. If they refuse, we'll give you all a call and ask you to work with us. But it is a policy, so we will have to ask that child to go home. Thank you.
Okay, board comments, Mr. Spoltoff.
Appreciate everybody's comments this evening. As an administrator in another district, you know, we didn't interrupt anybody when they spoke.
Ladies and gentlemen, everybody listen very attentively to the public, which is the right thing to do. We ask, now that the board members want to speak, that you pay that same respect back. We ask the security, to the extent people are disrupting this meeting, appreciate the help. Thank you.
Again, I appreciate everybody coming out this evening. I know this is a very personal topic. I know this is a very concerning topic as an administrator. As an administrator in another district, I can appreciate the frustration both from an administrative level and then from a parent level of 3 kids here. I took copious notes as well. I look forward to speaking with the administrative team more in depth about some of the concerns that you have, and thank you.
Mr. Herman.
Thank you all for coming out tonight. I really do hope that the executive order will be rescinded in the near future. There were multiple Aside from the masks, there were multiple things on the agenda. Correct. Private school. Anyway, there were a lot of very important things on the agenda tonight that did not have to do with masks. Number one, like I pointed out, the transportation capabilities are going to be enhanced for the safety of all children. Aside from the short-term issues that we're facing in the district, we do have our focus on the long-term issues. We approved more vendors to provide special education services to be able to reach more children, and I hope we could work together in the future.
Mr. Acevedo.
Thank you. Can I be heard? I appreciate the fact that most people have been civil and polite, and it's always appreciated when people come out. I wish we had more crowds like this more often. However, I have some things to say. My father earned 3 Bronze Stars while fighting for the 7th Army, which liberated Dachau, and he watched over Hermann Goering, and he taught me well about what the Holocaust was and what World War II was, and I think it's just in poor taste to compare the rules of wearing a mask to the Holocaust. Just totally unfair and not the same plane. Also, I did this to my mask because I need oxygen, and I need oxygen because I have a bit. Hear me out. I have a bad heart. If I get sick, I die. That's it. Ma'am, that's it. That's my choice to die. I got it. Here we go. Now, I was a member of the mental health board, and we built many clinics to fight teenage suicide. Now, I know for a fact, we can't have this conversation like this. It's not proper. Let me finish and then be against what I say. But listen to what I say, okay? Now, I was in the mental health board, and I was a teacher in a school where 5 years in a row, I had to bury a student who died from gun violence. I know what kids go through. I have children. Most of us here are parents. My sister, a few months ago, around the time when COVID began, got sick with pulmonary disease. She died. We could never prove what it was because nobody knew what COVID was at the time, but she died. My son spent 8 months fighting COVID, never recovered, still suffering from it. Now, one of the things is I was also a coach for 20 plus years, and I know one thing, that an athlete needs to have the edge. He has to have pulmonary capacity. He has to have strong lungs, and COVID affects the lungs, the brain, the heart, and other parts of the body. If you want to get a scholarship, you need to be healthy. I want you to understand that this school district cares about your children as I care about my own children. However, you yelling, you're raising your voice doesn't make you right. I am saying the board has certain limitations and has certain responsibilities. We have to make sure that a child doesn't die because we made the wrong choice. It's okay. I will close with this.
Please let him speak.
I will close with this. I will not be drowned out. I will close with this.
Can we please let him speak? Can we please hear what he has to say, please?
It's my last statement. What we have to do is understand it's not death that we're fighting. It's also a disease that we don't understand. If you care about your children, we care about your children too. It's only a mask, people.
Thank you, Mr. Acevedo. Mr. Bernetsky. Mr. Bernetsky.
I would like to thank everybody for coming out.
Your anger is righteous. Has nothing to do with Farley's right now, unfortunately. Actually, it does, but that's a whole different story. Your anger is righteous, and as well as it was said before, it needs to be directed at Trenton. Our governor is a carpetbagger from Massachusetts. It is unfortunate that he came to New Jersey and is now acting as an emperor of some sort. It is my personal intention to never wear a mask again, but... No. In this country, we do have choice. I will work to make that true everywhere I go. Okay? You will not be wearing... You want to come into my store with a mask on, feel free. You want to come into my store without a mask on, feel free. Thank you very much for coming.
Mr. Walsh.
Your voices have been heard. Now let's see what we can do to make some adjustments. I don't think we have the power here to change somebody's mind, but the superintendent will be working on it. Good night.
Make a motion to adjourn. You got to speak.
Yes. I thank you, everyone, for coming. You know, your input and comments have been heard. I'm urging everyone to advocate on the local legislatures along with the government. Everyone have a great and safe night.
Can I have a motion to adjourn?
I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
By acclamation.
Motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Good night. In adjourns.
Okay.